To set the stage here, we're in a little bit of a challenging time right now with vaccine. The province is rolling it out. We personally, from a public health perspective, we are pleased to run our mass immunization clinics, but our long-term interest is to get out of the vaccine business in terms of getting it back into pharmacies and primary care, hopefully eventually to be the key people to put the vaccine into arms. Right now, there are challenges with the vaccine, as you all know, the Pfizer requiring the ultra low temperatures. And there is limited supply of the AstraZeneca. I understand that Canada will be getting some limited supply of Johnson & Johnson. When we did the initial planning for this webinar as to whether or not to go ahead at this point in time with the uncertainty about the more office-friendly AZ and Johnson & Johnson availability, the ministry did inform us that it was good to try and get our primary care providers as ready as possible because they do perceive that there will be more vaccine that is office-friendly coming down the pipe at some point, and so might as well start the conversation now. So it's in that vein that we're doing this conversation today. We also know that yesterday, NACI did release a statement indicating that it might be advisable for people who have concerns about, who are younger and who may be have some increased risk for the immune thrombocytopenic blood clot event to wait for the mRNA, and that hasn't made it any easier to get AZ out into arms. It is the province's stance at the moment that the best vaccine for everybody is the one that they can get hold of. So to try and discourage vaccine shopping, but we'll see how the influence of the NACI statement will come into play over the next week or two. So those are sort of my background remarks. Wei, I want you to move on to the agenda. So this is the, no, move back one. So this is the agenda for today's meeting. It's jam-packed. We have 3 offices who have volunteered to share a little bit of their story. One is Rachel Orchard, who's going to talk about AstraZeneca, Dr. Taylor, who's going to talk about Moderna, and then Dr. Taylor and Dr. Toogood are going to talk about mini pop-up and mass immunization clinics. We are going to have a little bit of an intro on the in-service support that Southwestern Public Health can provide to your office to set up your clinics. And Wei, you don't have the slide up. You've got all the slides up. That's the one, yeah. Move back one, please. Then we're going to have a talk on how to book your patients and some administrative information about billing, etc. So that's our agenda. Moving on to the next slide. So just a little bit of the background of where we are at the moment. So this is our vaccine coverage report for Southwestern Public Health. You can find this on our website anytime you want to see where we're at. The good news is that so far we have vaccinated 66,000 residents with at least 1 dose. And we're up to almost 12,000 doses per week through our clinics. And so the vaccine rollout is going well. And we've got a little bit around, 30 to 35% of our whole region covered. In terms of the age brackets, we have gotten, you can see, because we started our rollout with the elderly, our coverage rates for the 70 to 79 and 80 plus are pretty good. We're getting up there with the 60 to 69, and all the rest, we still have a long ways to go. So just to make note that we've been working on the 80 pluses now, since January, and we still have another, 25% to go there. So do check your practices, and if there are anyone there that hasn't been vaccinated, perhaps a conversation as to why and that we are still keen to get those last few vaccinated if possible. Next slide. So this is the rollout for the next the next little bit. This is the vaccine eligibility. So for some of you on the phone, you may not be able to see the slides, but they were circulated to you. And so we're now on the slide with the phase 2 schedule for COVID-19 vaccine booking eligibility. We're now in the week of May 3rd. So at this point, 50% of all the vaccines in the provinces are going to equally distributed by population ratios to public health units, and the other 50% are being saved for hotspots where they're in outbreak. And then as we move into later on in the month, when we've hopefully vaccinated our hotspots, the allocation will be based on a per capita basis. And it's at that point in time that we do expect to see more vaccine locally. We're going to be moving relatively rapidly down the age bands. This week on Thursday, we dropped to 50 plus, and then next week 40 plus, and the week after 30 plus, and then by the end of May, everybody over the age of 18. So the province is making it quite clear that with each one of those weeks, you will be eligible to book an appointment, but you may not actually end up getting your appointment until into June. So just need to distinguish that when we communicate with our patients. Currently, as of yesterday, our one hotspot, the N5H postal code, anybody 18 and over who is a resident in that hotspot is eligible to get their vaccine. We've already covered the high-risk health conditions. They were eligible 2 weeks ago, and next week, the at-risk health conditions will be added. And this week, on Thursday, those essential workers who cannot work from home, group 1 and group 2 will be added, and then next week, group 2. So that's just a picture of how the rollout will be in the coming weeks. Moving to the next slide. This is just more a matter of interest. It's a lot of bars, so no need to try and focus your eyes on it. But essentially, if you look at the 3 columns, this is the first column is the doses administered by health unit, and Southwestern's down there among the S's. And then the number of doses allocated to that health unit for primary care. And then in the very last line, the percent of the allocation used. So this is from last week. Last week, 24.6% of the allocations for primary care were used in our health unit. This week, we're up to 56% this week. We just weren't able to show you the slides. So even locally, the AstraZeneca rollout is slow and steadily, but it's going well. Next one. Next slide. And we get a similar picture for pharmacy. So pharmacy is a bit ahead of us all. And as you note, within Southwestern, about 90% of the AstraZeneca for pharmacies had been rolled out last week. And I understand that many of our pharmacies still have a wait list for more people interested.
Wei, can you hear us okay?
Yes, I can hear you. I wonder if this is a connection issue on Dr. Locke's part.
Yeah, I can hear you guys, but everything else is messy.
Hi, everyone. This is Wei. I believe that we lost Dr. Locke for a second. We'll ask her to rejoin, and hopefully we won't run into further IT issues.
Hi there. We can hear you, Joyce.
Okay, I got cut off. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay, which slide do you have up? I suggest you move on to Rachel Orchard.
We do have one more slide to talk about communications with primary care.
Okay, so I'll just quickly talk to that one. So that is that we switched our communication package that we get communication out. We now use a methodology called Rave Alerts, and you must sign up with Southwestern Public Health to get it. We can't just use your email address that we get from any source. You have to sign up for it. So we do encourage you to subscribe to our Rave Alerts so that we can continue to communicate with you electronically.
Additional links are in the chat if you'd like to sign up. Thank you.